All right, let's get started. First of all, I want to name our captains. On offense, we named Malik Rozier. On defense, we named Michael Jackson and also R.J. McIntosh. And then for special teams, we had Travis Homer. He got reduced to 2 special teams. He's still a special teams player of the game. Another thing I want to at least clean up a little bit, Michael Irvin is in good standing. He's able to play. He wasn't last week, but he's out of the doghouse, so to speak. So anyway, I just wanted to get that covered. And now let's talk a little bit about North Carolina, Coach Fedora's team. Offensively, number 12, Surratt, coming out of high school, prayed All-American, had 336 total yards, I think against Duke. Had a big day, dual threat runner and a passer. Very talented guy. He's sharing some time with Harris, a transfer from LSU, guy that actually has had 18 starts in his career when you add the starts that he had at LSU. So 2 guys that have played a good bit of ball now, and now that we're mid-season. Running back position, number 8, Carter, is leading the way with 400 yards rushing and 7 touchdowns. He was a 6A Mr. Football coming out of high school. He had 45 high school touchdowns. Pretty impressive there. Number 2, the running back, he's actually their leading wide receiver with 20 catches. Cunningham, number 10, is second. He is a wide receiver, transferred from Vanderbilt. He's got 19 catches. And then Ratliff, number 17, has got 18 catches. So that's a little bit about their offensive personnel. Defense, a lot of experience in the secondary. Number 6, Stewart. I think this is his 34th start going into this game. He plays a lot. He plays extremely well in man coverage. They do play a lot of man coverage, and he's one of the guys locked up just about every snap. Miles, number 15, this will be his 40th start. He's a kid that was actually out of Carroll City, and I think he ended up in Georgia there for a minute, and now he's there at North Carolina. Number 1, guy named Dorn, another defensive back, had 2 picks versus Notre Dame, and is doing a good job. Number 36, middle linebacker Holcomb. He's got 74 tackles. He's on his 22nd start, and I think he was 5th in the ACC in tackles last year. And then number 23, another linebacker. We watching tape, really got a lot of respect for him and how he plays the game. I think he's a senior, maybe even a 5th-year senior, but he's a veteran anyway. Been playing a good bit and playing extremely well. And then they've got Carney up front, number 53. He leads the D lineman with tackles for loss with 8 and 3.5 sacks. They got a punter of note, number 39, Sheldon. He's a kid from Australia, and he is averaging 46.8 yards a punt. That might be best in America. I don't know. If it's not, it's close. And so he's booming them. Field goal kickers, 4 of 8. So anyway, get a chance to go on the road. And, I remember, just like I hadn't been back to Duke for, 18 years, probably the same amount of years since I've been back at North Carolina. But just always remember just a really beautiful venue and great place to play football. So we're looking forward to that.
Mark, obviously they have a tough season with injuries. What is it like to game plan for a team that just they got a bunch of?
Yeah, you have to just watch what they do schematically, and there's not a major change that I see when one guy gets hurt and they put another guy in, which is typical. And on defense especially, which I do study more of that than the offense. But offensively, when you do have 2 different quarterbacks, even if they're similar in style, they're still different in how they're used a lot of times. And I think they've both played enough where, Manny will have a pretty good feel of what each kid can do and how they've been at least used in the past. So, the quarterback position, probably of all positions, changes dramatically how you might play a team if 2 guys are just really different in their skill sets.
Mark, is this the kind of team that you've had to talk to and caution about looking ahead, especially as
No, I don't. If we were rolling everybody, we're whooping everybody by 3 touchdowns, no drama, getting your second, third. Well, we get our second and third stringers in anyway. But if we were having that kind of a role, maybe. But we're just finding ways to win at the end of games, and we're not foolish enough to think that we've arrived yet. I don't think they believe that. They know we got to earn it.
How close do you think you are to turning that corner? And,
Well, like I said before, I mean, good things are happening, but, it takes time in recruiting, over time to get your roster, deep enough with guys that can really play at the championship level. And then, the one thing you can't manage is injuries, or you could manage who plays, but you can't control the injuries. And so when you have, I don't know if anybody can withstand that many injuries and just let it roll off their back and throw in the next guy and play at a high level, but some teams are better prepared to do that than others. And that we're just trying to get to the point in recruiting where, we've got guys that we feel very comfortable playing two deep, maybe even three deep sometimes. And then if you do have an injury, you got a qualified kid that's already played. He's already got the talent base to win, and that's where we're trying to get it. Now, trying to get used to winning, the winning culture, that's hopefully being developed. But the winning culture is really more of how you go about your business every day than actual wins sometimes. Sometimes they don't show up right away.
how about like in terms of this team this year peaking, getting to the point?
Well, there's no doubt we can get better. So I can only hope that we keep getting better, and then I don't know what the right time is to peak, but if we can keep getting better, that would be really good for us. And we all know we can get better.
Reading back in Notre Dame have had good seasons as a coach. How far in advance are you able to just get a sense of what they've been able to do this year?
Yeah, well, I'm not going to talk about Notre Dame because I think Joe Rose asked me about, hey, did you see the game? I said, yeah, I saw the game. Then there's a big giant article about me talking about an opponent before this opponent. So I'm not going to talk about another team because things get – I think it's a legitimate question, but if I answer it, it's like, oh, he's not thinking about this opponent. So I don't need that. So.
The run defense has given up over 200 yards now in 3 straight games. Is there a specific issue? I know you're facing the offense.
Well, this last game in particular, we were going to play a lot of man coverage. And to get to the quarterback and try to disrupt him a little bit, we were, running some stunts, some slanting and some twisting and things of that nature. And sometimes when you twist, you don't have the same gap integrity. Like if everybody just lines up in their gap, plays their gap, linebacker's behind it, he knows his gap, you got it all controlled, you don't. But now you start twisting and stunning, and two guys end up in the same gap, and then bam, a run just pops, which we saw happen. And that was the issue. It wasn't so much that we were getting whipped physically, and we kind of knew there may be some runs that pop out of there here and there. But the philosophy of the last game was to play a lot of man coverage, lock up, find your man, get lined up. That was the first thing, get lined up quickly. Know your assignment. Well, if your assignment's man-to-man, it's like you got that guy, that's it. It's pretty simple in the secondary. And then we tried to get a little bit of change-ups by the stunting of our line, and because of it, a couple runs popped out of there. That was this past game. Other games, people, I don't know if there's anybody's just devastatingly knocking us off the ball, but there's been creases that have been created. And obviously when you play Georgia Tech, if you hold them to 300 yards, you're cheering. You had a great day, so they run for 400 or 500 yards sometimes.
I know you talked about just, the faith obviously still in him on, but just how has he handled the adversity this year, just the ups and downs with the injury?
Well, he's anxious to play and anxious to play great. He had a chance really. He could have had 200 yards and 3 touchdowns easily, maybe even more than that. But he didn't. He didn't, and he's a great player that was probably pressing maybe a little bit to be great, maybe to try to catch up for all the things that he missed, but he'll settle in and do really good.
How much of the issues kind of inside the 5 offensively are just flat out imposing?
Well, okay, I'll go over as much as I can remember. We run one play kind of up the gut, and they pretty much stoned us. The second time we ran the same play, we actually got movement on the left side where we really knocked a couple of their guys into the end zone. But the back just didn't stay on his track, and he tried to cut it up too soon, and he ran into a pile of bodies. He ran to darkness, as we call it, for whatever reason. All right, so now it's third down, and we ran a play that we knew was going to be man coverage and threw the slant to Amon. And I mean, the ball was here instead of here, maybe, you know. And so, I mean, he had his hands on it. The ball gets stripped out. We could have scored easily there. I'm trying to think of some of the other ones. That's the one that I most vividly remember. It seemed like the other ones were farther out. I can't remember all of them. But, you know, if you score from a distance, that helps. You don't have to mess with the red zone stuff. You know, we had a couple who were getting tackled on the 2 and the 1. And, I mean, let's get it in there, you know. But we're frustrated as coaches. The players I know are. And we just have to get more movement, and we got to run better, and we got to get behind our pads. And if we do throw the ball, we got to put it in play, and guys got to hang on to it. It's just, it is frustrating, though, I can tell you that.
Mark, what do you feel for what Jim Larinaga is going through right now? And just sort of the
Right. I don't know. I know Jim fairly well, and if there's ever been a genuine human being, it's Jim Larinaga. And so I don't even know what's going on other than to have to defend yourself against things that, you know, it's not fun, you know, and you're building a program and you're gaining momentum and then you have to manage it. But that's why you got a head coach, and he's very capable of doing it. And I heard his comments this morning, and you could just tell that he's very sincere about what he's saying, and I believe him.
Anything else, guys?
Mark Walton was out at practice today, and I know
Right.
that he's been, the guys were talking about just having him around, how important that's been.
Yeah, it's big. I mean, first of all, we want all of our injured players, when they're able to move around after surgery in particular, to be at the meetings, to be at practice. Maybe not be outside the whole practice, because might be some rehab that can be done during practice and even during meeting times. But we want them always to check in with their coach, see their teammates, get the treatment. And at the end of practice, when we call the team up, we want everybody to be there, including the injured players. Again, if it's not, you know, a tough situation to get there. He's to the point now where he can move around a little bit. And so, yeah, it's good to see him. He's really, you know, I don't know where it hits a player over there. Like they get, I don't know if it's when they lay their head on the pillow at night when they really get in the tank or whatever, and they just get bummed out by it. But his spirits have been really pretty good considering that he got hurt. And the good news is it's an injury that is very repairable, and you're as good as new kind of injury type situation. So that's the best news. Okay, thank you guys.